Hello and welcome to New Filmmakers Los Angeles in partnership with Movie Maker magazine. My name is Danny DeLillo. We're here at the South Park Center. I'm delighted to be joined with a very talented Claire with her fantastic film, A Way Home. Let's take a look at the clip.
He's alive, and he's on his way home.
So do your words to me, test my Lord.
Claire, thank you so much. Welcome to the New Filmmakers LA family. Thank you for bringing your film to us, and I've got so many questions. I loved it so much. But for those that haven't seen it, tell us a brief synopsis.
Well, I'd love to tell you a brief synopsis about it. It is a film about a veteran who was left behind in the Afghan pullout. And he ends up finding his way home. We don't focus on the political of this. We focus on the love story between him and his ex-wife, his ex-fiancée. Yeah. They were never able to get married before he left. He asked her on the way out. I am giving so much extra information. But that is what the film is about. And it was inspired by... Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about me, if that is okay. I will take the fast
I'd love to,
version.
yeah.
So, grew up in LA, industry family, went to, well, fast forward, lots of stuff, then went to NYU when I was older. So I left NYU working at AMC Networks, and then I went to Participant Media. Then I had a tragedy happen, and I could not go into the office anymore. It was not, I was literally traumatized, PTSD, flashbacks, even looking at a car, like I couldn't walk by cars because of what had happened. Yeah. And so I had to leave. And thankfully, what the good part of this is my mother, Ivana Chubbuck, she specializes in the Chubbuck technique. It was first shouted out by Halle Berry when she had her Oscar run. Yeah. Her technique is about using your trauma and pain to prosper. So I ended up teaching acting. And I taught acting in this way, and it informs me as a director because I saw so many talented actors. I'm like, why isn't anyone putting you in anything? Yeah. Oh, I have the power to do that. Yeah. And it's through the way that I teach that I direct on set where people find this catharsis in their work. So in the clip scene that we just showed, the original ending of that clip scene was the girl was supposed to leave, because the original theme was about don't take on other people's traumas. Like, we can handle this alone. We're all warriors. Yeah. But it was through the acting and the permission that I give my actors on set to fight for their scene objective that they ended up back together. And I was just like, whoa, okay, what's happening here? Yeah. But I love it. Let's use this instead. And we changed the ending. Oh,
wow. Yeah. That's what. Well, thank you so much for sharing that journey. Yeah. And you know, I think it's I always say thank you for sharing something so personal to you, and not only educating others, through the experiences you gave us in these characters, but also just, it's sometimes therapeutic for others to experience universally their own things that they've been through and traumas they've been through as well. So, and again, that's why I was going to say, like, how do you get such good actors? I'm like, oh, because you're great, you teach acting, that's great. No, I was so moved by these characters because this is an example of maybe what has happened to many people as well who've moved on in their lives. Of course, these are exceptional circumstances. How did you go about bringing your actors together? Like, how was that experience? And then it must be really fun as someone that has a real passion for actors, teaching them and directing them in this film that has very high stakes. How was bringing the cast and then directing for you?
Well, they all knew each other from class already, so I like to pair people that want to work together. Yeah. And I do that when I do the scenes in class, but I also do it when I make a movie. And they had... sort of like, how hot of the tea am I gonna give? No, they would kill me. So they like each other and had a history as far as acting goes. And so I knew they would be great together, and I believe in them both tremendously as actors. And they were both processing their own traumas at the time that we were infusing into the character.
Wow.
The scene where she is seeing his scars for the first time, the inner work that she was using on that was so powerful for her, because she was looking at her own scars, her own emotional battle wounds and traumas, because she's been through a lot. I won't out her, don't worry, girl. But it was so powerful to see someone be moved, and then he was forced to take care of her, even though he was the one with all the scars. He's the one that should have been there was just so many dynamic, complex things happening, and we were working it out together on set. Because I'm like, I'll watch by the monitors sometimes, but I really like to be in the scene with them, so they can feel I help bounce the ball back and forth with. Oh, that is about to sound so crazy.
No, I'm with you on
Bounce
this.
the ball back and forward with energy, with gaze.
Yeah.
Right? So if I'm looking at someone, I'm like, okay, it's your turn, and there's a give and take. It's like sex, it's like dancing, where you can't always be the person. Yeah. Sometimes it's your reaction for what the other person's doing that tells us even more than anything you could be doing. Yeah. So I try to help.
Great acting technique, actually,
It's the thing. It's the only thing I care about on set. I really have to rely on my cinematographers. I give some ideas, but if they give me idea back, I normally take it. It's really a collaborative effort with me.
Well, it was very captivating to watch them react with each other, you know, and actually it was funny because I was in the room, you could hear a pin drop in the auditorium, you know, because we were just left in these moments, and you could feel each other's pain. It was almost like, it was striking actually. I could feel it like piercing. It was like piercing because you just experienced what they've both gone through, where they were in their lives, but they've still got this very, very deep connection that they're trying to unfold again in these new circumstances. What was it like, you know, obviously you have an idea when you're going to make a film, what it look, you know, how it may be, how it would look. What discoveries did you find during the process of making this film? It's
the old adage of you're writing it 3 times and every is so true. It is so true. The original first rough is like a 50-minute film. Yeah. And it included her story as well. And we had to get realistic with ourselves. No short film festival is going to take our 50-minute film. So we had to rewrite the story in post. Yeah. Meanwhile, they rewrote the story on set, because that's again how I work. I let the goals speak for themselves, because that's the truth of human behavior, not the things that we're saying. So if you're in the middle of the fight and you're like, I hate you, yelling, that fight's continuing. If you're like, I hate you, you've given up, you know, and then the fight can resolve. So it depends on what ends up happening. So I shoot in order as much as I can, because we need to see what happened truthfully in the last one before we can move on. But it's a completely different movie from the original, what we were originally trying to say. And
that's amazing, because that's really just the evolvement of your film, and that must feel quite magical. And it's you know, you've seen it from where it first started to where it's finished. And you know, again, I think when you're touching on, you know, I think traumas and PTSD, we've all got different ways of coping and letting it out. But I think it was very therapeutic to watch, to sort of see these characters unfold. And I'm so curious, from taking these circumstances, taking it from something that you've experienced in your own world, what did you want your audience to experience from your film?
Oh, okay. I wanted them to experience the loss that, I know this sounds terrible, but to experience the loss that I felt. And that is why the characters weren't supposed to end up together at the end, right? Because sometimes we just have to own our own experience and not let other people dictate what we feel like we should be doing, because we want to be a good person. Yeah. So the original ending allowed everyone was a bad person by the ending. And so I had that message, but the movie, when we laid it out like that, wasn't good because of the performances and because of this. So it was really in service of the good movie that it also shifted in this different direction. You have to let the movie be what it's going to be, not force it into something that it's just not. Yeah. And I think as I watch it now, what I want people to take away is, I guess trauma's okay, you know,
Yeah.
because it's really where we're
Yeah.
born. It's where the best parts of ourselves come from.
Yeah, I love that, and I think there's, like you said, I think there's so many ways in which you can turn, you know, trauma and utilize that in your creativity or in whatever ever form of expression that you can. And what's great about what you've made with this film is you've taken an example, and hopefully, you know, maybe people are either going to be educated, empathize, or help them in their experiences too. Is that something you were thinking about as well?
I love that, and I
Yeah.
think that absolutely goes. Thank you for putting those words into the air, because I completely
Yeah.
agree with that. But the other thing that I want when they're watching, it's like if you have a bad day, that's also not who you are. We
Yeah.
are part of our pain, but we're also part of our goodness. The thing in the theater yesterday was the turn. Sorry, this was the best part of
Yeah.
seeing it live. Was when she didn't show up, and we don't understand why people make the choices they make. And to see, like my best friend was watching, she's like, "Did she not coming?" I'm like, "No, she's not, girl." And that, it was just such a magical experience. Thank you so much for making that happen for all these filmmakers.
Thank you. My goodness. I'm already excited for whatever you bring us next. What are you bringing us next? What is next for you?
Okay. So I've tried to take my mother's technique a step further. And so her technique is really about empowerment and catharsis, finding the win in your circumstances. So now I want to tell people's stories in that fashion as well. So it's based on a true story, but we're centering the survivor as the protagonist, and we're making what happened to them a hero's journey that's not quite over. So their trauma happens in the middle of the movie, and then the fantasy that comes from the truth of their reality, a la manifestation, is written for the end, right?
Oh, I love this.
Thank you. I call it cathartic realism.
Yeah.
And so I've done a bunch of these pieces already. Way Home was not one of those.
Yeah.
But so I made my first comedy version of that.
Oh, wow, amazing.
And it's about a man's relationship with his penis, and the trauma that we're exploring is erectile dysfunction. And
Yeah.
his penis is personified by a 6-foot-tall man in a penis costume. It's classy. It's a classy penis costume, I swear. It was designed by myself, yours
Fantastic.
truly.
Amazing.
Based on all the penises I've seen. Sorry. Anyway, so that's going to be what's next, and I
That's
hope to show it
amazing.
here.
I just love the vision that you have, and the kind of care and the viewpoint in which you articulate, you know, your film. So I'm very excited for this next one. And you know, listen, you've got, you know, a lot of experience, you know, working in this industry, and I'm just curious, because you're a teacher as well. You know, other filmmakers out there, what if they're looking to follow in their artistry and their creative footsteps? Is there anything that you go by that you could share with other filmmakers out there for us?
I have two. The first one, they're both cliche, but they're the ones that I go with. You just have to do it. Just do it. Doesn't matter if it's good. You're gonna have to make another one. It's never gonna be as good as your next thing's gonna be. So get that first one out the way. Get that second one out the way. Do the best you can, but everything's a learning process. And the thing that I learned, and that's gonna be important for me forever, is you have to have fun.
Yeah.
Even when you're crying.
Yes.
Even when we're reliving the trauma that
Yes.
is being put on screen for now everyone to have a judgment on. There still has to be something fun about it, because it's the act of play that makes it palatable for us to
Yeah.
go into, and audiences can sense that.
Yeah.
If there's no game being played, you're just jerking off with your trauma.
Yeah.
And that's not what we're about. We're about moving the needle forward in terms of your joy, in terms of your power, in terms of your fucking purpose. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry, I don't know if I can curse.
Oh, no, it's okay. It's a late night show. It's fine.
Oh, okay, okay. It's so amazing that I haven't cursed up until this point. But your purpose, and so do it, have fun, because if it's not fun, it's not going to be fun for the audience to watch.
Yeah. Oh, Claire, thank you so much. Like, honestly, I feel like I've been sitting in some sort of beautiful creative therapy session, and I feel like our audience will feel the same. But I just want to say thank you so much for A Way Home. It was really, really, you know, I'm still thinking about it, and I'm still thankful that you brought that to NewFilmmakers LA. And we're looking forward to your next project. But welcome to the family. Thank you very much. Thank you.